Good morning. It is April 2nd, and I don't have a whole lot to do today. First thing on my mind is the Wardley Maps event that's coming up at 1 Eastern. It is currently about 10:15 Eastern, which means I have a nice little compressed deadline to sort of do some prep work and get things going. I might talk to Tom Kerwin and David Hall. So David's my co-author for Strategy Tactics, and Tom is one of the authors of the other pip decks, Innovation Tactics. For reference, yeah, here's Strategy Tactics and here's Innovation Tactics. They work very well together, and Tom is a good friend. And David has been an amazing friend and business partner as well. So I might talk to them a little bit before the event. After the event, though, I think the only other thing on my schedule for today is to follow through on test 112, which is on my board here, which is basically a chance to offer the Wardley mapping roast idea. So basically, I was talking to someone about this yesterday. It is the idea that I can invite people to send me a map and then have them fill out a little intake form, maybe ask them about what some of the words mean, and then I will spend 20, 30 minutes, depending, talking through the map, critiquing it, offering some challenge, asking the questions that I know to ask about different parts of the map, and also about different ways to intervene in the map. So kind of like a naive gut check on the map to sort of get some things unstuck for folks. So I don't know if people want that or if it's valuable, and so I want to do some tests. And one of the ways I'm going to do that test is I did a giveaway in order to get feedback on why people didn't buy my last offer, which was for like a mapping session. And I emailed all those people who clicked on that offer but didn't buy, and I asked them to do a survey in exchange for one of the folks basically getting to do a session with me for free. And I got 6 responses as of this morning, and I've looked through them all, and the insight I had, and I'm going over this again maybe if you missed it from the last videos, like every single one of them is paying out of pocket, and that makes the price that I was asking for too high. And yet I'm aiming for department level budgets, organization level problems. And so I need to kind of be targeting a different demographic. I'm clearly reaching the wrong folks with the wrong offer. So the roast, I think, is cooler because it can be applicable for anyone, regardless of what sort of buying stage they're in. And it could be inexpensive because it would be less effort for me to do than a coaching session, for example, because we wouldn't have to coordinate schedules. I could just get an intake and sit down and record for 20 minutes, just like I'm doing right now. And that sounds fun to me, which means I don't really like feel as compelled to worry about it as like a money maker, for example. And you know, I'm running a business, and that business puts food on my table. So I have to be mindful about taking care of my family, while also making sure that we, are providing value for the people out there who want to learn more about Wardley mapping. So I want to run that test and also announce the giveaway winner and things like that to the folks who submitted the survey results. So it'll be one of those 6 people that wins, lucky. And yeah, I think I'm going to spend the rest of this morning working on this event and preparing for it. I shared the video yesterday, and Tristan reached out and sent me a note, and he was reminded of the landing page roast that I shared. And this is something that I haven't shared with you yet, but I paid Ollie from, he runs an app called Senja, Senja, and they do testimonials. And if you look at learnworthymapping.com, you'll notice that there's like a nice little embed with testimonials and things like that. That's Senja at work. And Ollie, for a while, was doing this roast my landing page thing. And I thought, why not? It'd be really interesting to get his take on Wardley mapping and my learnworthymapping.com homepage and see what he thought of that. And let me just say, it was sufficiently roasted. And I had a big long to-do list of things that I'm trying to fix, and I've got through about half of the 50 or so items of things I need to work on. But one of the things that he mentioned, which Tristan reminded me by email, thank you, Tristan, is we're starting with what the thing is instead of who it's for and what kind of value you'll get. And that's a fair critique. And Tristan's pointing out that the workshop or the event for today that I'm planning does really kind of lean into what is Wardley mapping and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's because I had this assumption that, that's what people wanted or needed. And I'm sure some folks need the what is it thing. They've already decided that they're interested and they need the what is it. But that's a fair critique for maybe something that I could fix and improve this morning. So I'm going to take a look at that. Now, whenever I'm working on some kind of workshop or event or whatever, and I'm trying to figure out how to make the most improvement in the shortest amount of time, which is the situation that we're in this morning, because I've got about 2.5 hours until this thing kicks off. So that's always a good challenge for me. I really enjoy the time crunch. It helps kind of keep me on task and really focused. But when I'm in that situation, I like to pay attention to like what's the weakest part. And so sometimes I'll go through and I'll think about what are all the things I would like to improve about the deck, or like to improve about the event or the structure and all this kind of stuff. But the most clarifying thing for me is just to go like, what is the most weak thing that I could spend a little bit of time, maybe time box some work on it to make it a little bit better. And right now, so given this overall event, my cat's coming in here to visit me. That means you're going to be part of the video. Gotcha. Here she is. Her name's Albie. She's very silly. As I look through the overall kind of structure here, I think the weakest part so far is this climate doctrine leadership stuff, because I haven't really, let's see, doctrine leadership. I haven't really articulated the question thing that I described yesterday very well. And for those who didn't see that, basically, I think of the climate patterns, the doctrinal principles, and the leadership gameplays as in a process of Wardley mapping as basically a table full of questions to ask. And the most basic version of the question is, for this item in this table, is it relevant? And usually you can point at a part of the map and go, okay, is this climate pattern relevant? Is this climate pattern relevant? Is this, and so on, right? Doctrinal principle, is this principle relevant? Is this principle relevant? Is this gameplay relevant? Is this gameplay relevant? Like, you just go through the list and it helps you start to do some thinking. And it's sort of a rote way to go about doing like the strategic thinking process of Wardley mapping. But I think that's helpful for most of us who are still in the early stages of building our intuition about how to use Wardley maps to make strategic decisions. So I want to articulate that a little bit better, and it's really weak right now. It doesn't come through, so I need to work on that. The other thing is what Tristan mentioned about starting with what the thing is instead of talking to the pain. So I really want to talk to the pain, and that's like the who and like who it's for and what it does for them. So I think that's important. I think the next weakest thing is probably going to be the schedule or the timeline. Yeah, timings. I'm worried I'm going to run out of time, and I'm worried that I'm not going to have enough space for people to share their thoughts and get some questions answered and talk to each other and stuff like that. The other thing is I'm a little worried about the value chain to Wardley Map demo. The value chain section I had this idea where I'd just make a bunch of value chains spontaneously, and I might actually replace the coffee shop with another spontaneous kind of organization. I think I'm going to ask people for like what kind of organization they work for, instead of like name an organization. That'll help keep it more concrete, and I'll get more volunteer responses that way, I think. Then the question is, do I end up making 3 Wardley maps? and that could easily explode into a long period of time. But I'm going to think about this, and so that's the other weak part that I want to work on. So I think this is my punch list for this morning. What I'm going to do is set probably a 5-minute timer and go one by one through each of these and just try to make a little tiny improvement to it and see how I feel at the end of that 5 minutes. And basically I'll keep doing that until I demote the weakest part to lower, to be, it's one of the stronger parts now or what have you. I'll keep doing that time box until I demote it to a less weak part, and then I'll switch targets to the next weakest part and work on it that way. So that's a really useful kind of way to time box the work, not spend too long like messing with slides or getting lost on things that don't matter. That's how I'm going to do this morning. So I'm going to check back in when I have more to talk about. So yeah. Okay, I'm back with results. I did about 4 5-minute time boxes. I decided to work on the talking to the pain problem. I made that the first and most important issue. And I think I made good progress on that because I have 2 demographics that I'm trying to speak to. One is like a professional who needs to improve their own thinking, and the other is more like business leadership and needs to deal with a existential kind of market problem or internal operational challenge, that kind of thing. I don't know if this is going to perfectly encompass the folks who are on the call, so I'm going to embed a small miniature test here where if this doesn't feel right, folks can give me that feedback in the chat, and maybe we can have a small conversation about that. So this is the result of about 20 minutes of iteration. I feel pretty happy with that, and I'm going to move on to the next weakest part. Okay, the event has happened. It's over. Folks stuck around about half an hour after the end, which was really cool. I always love that part because we get into the things people are really worried about. I always end the recording right before that, but it helps people feel more comfortable sharing and things like that. So I don't want to have their thoughts just like blasted out when they're often dealing with some difficult or very vulnerable situations. So that's good. That everything went well. I'm really pleased. I ended up abandoning the timings a little bit as I got closer to the event. The weakest part expanded. I found a lot more things to like fix and deal with. One thing I added was a warm-up around an experiment I wanted to run on seeing if people would connect with each other on LinkedIn. And so I opened up, I made a post and I shared that with folks, and people replied. That was the coolest thing, is to seeing what challenges people were working on, which is the prompt. And so a bunch of people replied and connected, and this is so cool. I can't wait to go through all this. Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. Oh, awesome. And I see people are liking each other's posts too. So that, okay, maybe there's a decent hope that some of these folks started to connect a little bit. Awesome. I wanted to test that because networking is so hard in like digital space. So I don't know. That would be interesting to see how that goes. The other thing, let's see. I added an intent slide just to give people some expectations. I added a disclaimer slide because a lot of my thinking on Wardley mapping is a bit unorthodox. So I wanted to make sure they knew where to find the official like version of things, right? So they could compare and contrast and even question like my version of stuff. And then let's see, what else did I add? I switched some things around. We ended up only doing 2 value chains. I just made a call because of time. Jennifer Arndt and Tristan helped me with these, which was super awesome, just to sort of like experience their worlds for a little bit. I added in some of the original tables and things like that. I just decided not to sugarcoat it and show folks the actual like full detail. We only did one Wardley-ish map thing. It was really small and really short, and I worry that maybe that was too simple, but I don't know. Maybe I'll find out from some after event feedback. Actually, that's a good point. I should ask for feedback afterwards. So we only made one map, and that ended up being okay. We got through a lot of what I wanted to cover. Ended only 2 minutes over, so we still ended later than I should have. But to be honest, the material was done on time. It was the calls to action that went over, and people could have left if they wanted to miss those. That's fine. So I made 2 calls to action. One was contacting us about market or internal strategy challenges. Playing with this phrasing was interesting because I switched from like, what do we do, to what problem do you have that we might be able to help with. That's interesting. We'll see if that changes any of the way that people interact with this call to action. And I did pitch the Wardley Map roast. So I made this pitch for the first time. We'll see if anyone signs up. Actually, I can check right now. Did anybody sign up for that? Oh, cool. 2 people signed up. Neat. That's enough, actually. And I wasn't expecting a huge uptake on that, but I will also pitch the roast in the follow-up email as well. So I'll get the feedback and I'll get the roast, provide people with the recording, provide people with slides and all the links and things like that. So they'll get value from today for sure. Okay, all that feels good. I'm tired. I'm gonna go rest for a little bit. Bye for now. Okay, it's the end of a long day, and I've got a couple more things to do. Caught up on all my email, caught up on all the LinkedIn stuff. Now I'm going to pick a winner from the 6 people who responded to my feedback form on the why they didn't buy the offer that I put forward. So this is great. I love being able to do this for folks, and I could just, find a website for it, I suppose, to do that kind of picking, but I already wrote some JavaScript or, copied and pasted from Stack Overflow or something like that a while back. And I'm just going to reuse that. And so here's our function here. Boy, it's going to be embarrassing if this is like significantly mathematically problematic or whatever. But from what I was reading, this isn't a bad way to do it. And just because I'm nervous, I want to run just a quick test to make sure that it does what I expect it to. So I wrote this quick function here to, why not? Let's do it 10,000 times. And then we'll just validate that all the options are getting picked and that they're getting picked roughly, a reasonable amount, within a reasonable amount of each other, like pretty similar. So I'm just going to run this, and we get, about 16 or 1700 times each one got chosen. So that I'm good with that. So I can go ahead and pick for real this time. And what I'll do is run this version of it, and congratulations, person number 6. All right, that's done. I'll go let them know. And the thing that I was going to do with that too is that for the rest of the folks who didn't win anything, I want to let people know whether or not they won. And so I don't want to just send them bad news. So I'm going to send them a consolation prize of sorts, which is an invitation to try out this roast thing. And I got some feedback on the roast idea. Better word from someone in a marketing group that I'm a part of called Growth Trackers. Erica from that group suggested that I use the term constructive feedback instead of roast, which is more up my alley anyway. All right, so maybe we'll get a couple people to try that, and should be fun. We'll see if it's worth doing more of. Looking at my day tomorrow, I've got a session basically running a live version of one of the courses that's in development that helps people with figuring out what skills they have and how to pivot those skills to new kind of work, new jobs, new freelance ideas, for example. And so I'm finishing up a 3-course session with this person who's been kind enough to go through it with me and help me figure out what's broken about it. I also have a meeting with my coach, and I have a meeting with the same Growth Trackers group. So I'm going to do a little bit of marketing work, working on my tests. And then I'm also going to design a workshop for a town hall meeting for the Growth Trackers. So I'm going to spend a little time on that and maybe do some client proposal work with David. So that's the kind of plan for tomorrow. We'll see what goes and what I make of it in terms of making a video and things. All right, thanks for watching. I can't believe that you watched. That's pretty wild to me, but I appreciate you and hope you have an awesome day.